John Kavakis here for My Take, and today we're going to talk about the Brooklyn Collectors Club. I just had a marvelous time with Mo Brown from the Collectors Club. He's got some news, he's got some perspectives that we need to hear if we're serious collectors. So let's take a look at what we did together. Hi, John Kavakis here for My Take, and today we're going to talk about the Brooklyn Collectors Club. I've got Mo Brown, who's secretary for the club, with us here. And we're going to learn a little bit about him, his collection, and maybe a little bit more about where the club is going to go. Morning, Mo. Well, it's morning for me. I guess it's noon for you, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Hi, John. Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So are you on your lunch break? Are you retired or?
No, I've actually got a week off to dispatch the club models.
Oh, wow. So you took a week off to get the models mailed out. That must be a pretty big job.
Yeah, 130 is quite a few.
Now, I know you're a car guy.
Matter of fact, excuse me. You're going to have to excuse me. We've got two new kittens.
Yeah, a special guest appearance. I love that.
Yeah. That's Richie.
You sent me a video about a car that you own. It looked pretty interesting to me. What is that?
It's a 1971 Plymouth Barracuda.
Yeah, and you've modified it a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah,
just a little. It's all been pro streeted now, back halved with ladder bar suspension, 1432 slicks.
Mm-hmm.
It's 500 cubic inch Chrysler Mega Block, 4-bolt main. It's got roller cam, B1 heads, huge 1150 Dominator carburetor, and it's packing a 500 horsepower shot of nitrous oxide.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That must be a ride. Have you driven it down this trip yet?
Not yet, no. I have a long time ago, but it's been one of them things where life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And, you get married, you buy houses, you have children, and the car just sits in the background. But I've been gradually playing around with it. I mean, there's a big story years ago that Don Garlett's nearly lost a foot because of the transmission in his race car. And I've got the same transmission. So it's cost a lot of money to get that gearbox, that transmission to where we need it so that I don't lose my feet.
Yeah, I guess you're going to need those to shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you we know you're a 1-1 car guy, but you're a collector. What got you interested in collecting models?
I've always been interested in what people would call toy cars as a child. Okay, from when I was a kid, dinkies, corgis, spot on were quite prevalent. Even my sister had a collection of toy cars when she was younger. And it just progressed, really. The story of how I actually got into Brooklyn models is along that line. Mm-hmm. What happened was I had a honeymoon in New York in 1986, and at the time I worked on the post office counter. So what happened was I come home from honeymoon and went to work on the Monday morning at the post office counter in Uxbridge in West London. And was greeted with, "What are you doing here?" So I said, "Well, I work here, I hope." And they said, "Well, no, we'd give you the day off because you were coming back from America, but you can stay and do overtime if you wish." And I said, "No, thank you." So I got back on the train, and I lived in West Harrow at the time. And as I got to West Harrow station, I thought, well, all I'm going to do is sit in my flat all day. So I carried on, and I went up to town, up to St Martin's Lane, where there was a model shop. So I strolled in there, and I picked up a couple of models. I picked up a Solido Thunderbird, 61, 62 convertible, and also a Vitesse Cadillac, a red convertible. And I'm looking at these models, and in the window was a display of Brooklyns. And I'm a big Mopar guy, as you can probably tell from the CUDA.
Yes.
And sitting there was a number 19, the Brooklyn Chrysler C300. So I thought, oh, I like that. So the lady behind the counter, I've got to be honest, was a little bit rude, if I'm honest. And this is one of the reasons I'm a Brooklyn collector. She picked up this number 19, gave it to me, and I held it in my hand, and that was it.
The heft.
That was it.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, these are fantastic, lovely. And then it was about, scarily, it was about £18.50, which is really cheap. It was expensive in them days, but cheap now. And I just said to her, is this all of them in the display? And she quite rudely said, oh, no, you'll never get all of them. And that to me was like a red rag to a bull. And that's where the story ends, really. I've just carried on ever since.
So your first one was a 300C. You still have?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's beautiful. It is probably still one of my favourite Brooklyns.
So you've been collecting, what did you say that was 1984?
86.
86.
Yeah.
I went to a little model shop that was down near the London Bridge. Was that the same neighborhood that we're talking about?
London Bridge, relatively. The one I was in was called St Martin's Accessories.
Oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah, it's still there.
It isn't actually. It's gone.
Well, my wife and I were down there 6 or 7 years ago, and
it would have been there then.
We were doing the tour of the London Bridge, and that whole facility down there that's so ancient. And Kelly was the one that brought up. She said, "There's a model shop nearby," and it's been so long since I've seen a model shop anywhere. We had to go over there, and very, very, very pleasant folks. Wanted to just chit chat about the cars. That was a lot of fun. So you've got a collection of Brooklyns, and you've been in it for a while. I imagine you come across some fairly rare ones. What is your favorite one? What is your most precious model?
My most precious model is a colour trial on a Brooklyn BRK20, the Buick Skylark, and it's a dark emerald green with a white roof.
Yeah.
There is a long story behind it, but I got it in the end. It was one of them, them unicorn moments where you're grasping for something and it seems so far away.
Yes.
The original price was just astronomical. It was getting on for, in your language, $3,000.
Wow.
And there was no way on this planet was I going to pay that. But over about the space of 4 or 5 years, the price come down and down and down. And then I done a deal, and I've still got it now, and it is my most precious piece.
Amazing. We all have those holy grails of collecting that we strive for, and just like you, that desire makes me want to stretch on the finances, and then right after you get it, sometimes you're like, oh, did I really do that? So you're secretary for the Brooklyn Collectors Club. And
model secretary.
How long have you been with them? How'd you get with the club?
I was only just chatting with the Johns. I called the committee members are John Scrivens and John Bowyer, and I called them the Johns because there's two of them. And I was chatting to them the other day, and we were trying to work out when it was. Now, the first model that I sent out completely was the Hoagie Carmichael Oldsmobile.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
But the year before that, I posted out the Pierce Arrow, the gangster car, because there was an issue with one of the committee members had a family issue, so I just pretty much stepped up to it really, and just said, well, that was it. But the way I got involved with the club was, I saw an advert in one of the club magazines for a Brooklyn number 8, the green Chrysler Newport. And so I thought, oh, well, I'll give the guy a call and see if it's still for sale. So I phoned him, and it was for sale, and it just happened to be John Scrivens, who's the chairman of the club. So we chatted. I phoned this guy to chat to him about a green Chrysler for a couple of minutes. Is it for sale? We were on the phone for nearly 2 hours, John and I. We got quite friendly, agreed to meet up at the next AGM. And, during them 2 hours, I mean, I deliver oxygen now, but my background was with Royal Mail, and I've been right through the card with Royal Mail most jobs up to very senior management level. And when John found out that I knew everything about Royal Mail that you needed, he sort of kept that in the back of his head, thinking we might need you. So and then and that's it. And then when Wendy, who used to send out the models, I have another visitor. When Wendy decided that she couldn't do it anymore, John was on the phone. Would you like to do it? So, and then I said, yeah, I'll have a go for a while. 20 years later, here I am.
Wow. I've had a few chats with Danielle Rosoni, and he mentioned the new excitement about the club. And we've kind of seen that in how the magazine has been revamped. It's a quality piece now. Are you involved in putting a magazine together? How much work is that?
The magazine is put together by a chap called Martyn, and he's
at the factory.
He is. He's a bit of a technical wizard, I've got to be honest. I think he got sort of pushed into it a little bit to start with, but he quite enjoys it, I think. And what happens is the rest of us give him content in email or whatever we need, and he puts the magazine together. So where Al Stack, who used to be our editor, who resigned, obviously,
good guy,
nice guy.
Yeah.
He had to resign for like family reasons. His wife Rita was very poorly, and sadly we've lost her. But Martyn took over from there, and we pretty much got the magazine where we want it. I'm going to be honest. We need input from members. Well, that's what we need. When the magazine took over the factory, my big fear was it was going to look like a catalogue. And as the factory quite rightly said, well, no, as long as you keep giving us input and the members keep writing to us with letters and for sale adverts and things like that, it will still keep looking like a club magazine, which is really what we wanted. And at the moment, I think it is, but we are lacking content. It doesn't seem to matter what you ask people. Yeah, we'll do it, and it doesn't happen. So well, I've even got Julie at the factory now, who's into the 50s era and the 40s. She's going to start writing a piece for the magazine as well, which is great news.
I got a chance to meet Julie when Kelly and I were in London. We did the side trip to Bath and wanted to meet everybody there. And Julie was on the finishing table, I think. And she got quite a personality. Very memorable.
Yeah, she's great.
I love that. Yeah. So you're soliciting articles from the members, and I would imagine just about anybody that has something that they'd like to say could probably send you those articles for consideration. Is it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll put an email address at the bottom of this video once we post it. So
yeah, that'd be great. It'll be Martyn's email address.
Great. Okay. And Martyn's the one who puts the Brooklyn diaries together.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
With his own special sense of humor.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. So one of the big attractions to the club is the collector's model that comes out each year. I just did an unboxing of the 57 Chevy 210 two-door hardtop, magnificent model. How many of those collector's club models are there? Do you know?
Right, off the top of my head, I'm going to have to say no. But what happens is the 57 Chevy is our 32nd model, but it's our 32nd year. Some of the models there was two of, like the Pan Am set, the Chrysler set with the trailer, the pair of Lincolns, the pair of Cadillacs. So I can't tell you exactly how many there was, but I know there's 32 different types.
So I know that these are very desirable. A lot of people in the club just get one or two sometimes of every model. There are probably folks that have all of them. But I know from personal experience, trying to assemble a collection of those can be very difficult and expensive. So for me, it was one of the primary motivations for joining the club was to be eligible to get that club model when it came out.
And it's at a reasonable price.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite club model?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's head and shoulders amongst all of them. And that is the found at last and finished at last Chrysler set.
Oh boy, those are rarer than hen's teeth. Yeah.
I remember. Well, the strange thing is that the off the top of my head, the found at last, and the story behind that is obviously the guy owns the red Imperial convertible, which is all restored, and his go-to car was the Chrysler C300. So he finds a barn find, puts it on a trailer, and takes it home. There was 240 sets of them, I think, made, which is a really great number. And then what we did was, about 6 months to a year later, we brought out the black Chrysler called Finished at Last, which is obviously the same car, fully restored, but only 210 of them were sold. So, and at the time, we sold them for half price, £25, I think they were at the time, because we gave them as a gesture to the club. They were on top of the club model. So we had them done. The club had some funds left over. Every now and again, we have our money, like from the club model, accrues to an amount where we feel we can do something with it. Like the two-tone brown Marmon, if you bought one, secretly, we gave you a silver and orange one. And that was funded by when the club has a pot of money left over. Every now and again, we'll fund something to give back to the members, because obviously it's not our money. It's not a profit-making organisation. It's just something that we do.
Yeah, I love that aspect of the club. I've got a chance to meet a lot of the members, and the fact that we're all collectors and we understand each other, and the club's there for the collectors. And I think it's exciting that Brooklyn is beginning to appreciate and recognize how vital the club is to who they are and how they go forward. So I'm seeing this new emphasis, and for me, that kind of gets me pumped up. Where do you think the club's going? Do you have an idea? What would you like this club to look like in 2 or 3 years?
If I'm honest with you, John, and I'm going to have to be honest, I would just like to see a bigger membership database. I would like there to be more of us, but I can see it never ever getting back to the heydays of the collections of club models being the 300 and 400 or even in the 250s. I can see that never happening, because us guys, we're of an age where there's not so much new blood coming into the hobby. Now, that's where I think we need to focus a bit more. I mean, my son's 22. He's a member of the club. He comes to the AGM every year. He helps me with my models. I can see, hopefully, that is the shape of the future. But I don't see many other youngsters coming in. And I've got to be honest, that worries me for the white metal and the die-cast business on a whole. That worries me slightly. But I can see the club going from strength to strength with the magazine. The club models are getting better and better as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope the hierarchy at the Brooklyn factory watch this, because they know me well. I'm going to turn the knife a little bit more to get that little bit better out of them.
What improvements would you like to see?
I think your review of the 57 Chevy was very good. I really appreciated. And when you're talking about the door furniture inside, that I think is really where they need to go. The resin headlights is obviously great. The paint, the colour. I think the colours of the models, now that Brooklyn have got their own paint mixing facility, I think we're going to start getting some even more accurate colours. I think the issue that we had with the recent 210 was that the photographs we found of a Highland green car were virtually the same as the colour of the car they've produced for us.
Yeah.
But since the colour was chosen and the cars were painted, we've had a look around, and in exactly the same vein as you, we've found half a dozen different shades of Highland green.
It's incredible.
It is.
Yeah. And they all profess to be the authentic color. But I went to the Auto Color Library, which is an online paint chip resource, and found that the color that they painted the 210 is really close to what Highland green paint chips look like. I think it's a little unfortunate that there are so many cars that photograph a little bit differently than what they appear. And when you put the lights on the 210, the blue kind of comes out.
Yes, exactly.
But without the bright lights on it, it's a pretty accurate rendition. And I saw the pictures coming from Amanda and Martyn, and I thought, gosh, that thing looks blue. But in hand, and this is the incredible struggle that we all have in hand. You've got to evaluate the car by what it looks like in your hand, not what somebody's pictures. There's just too many variables on that. And
have you noticed the numbering on the model?
No, I didn't.
Right, on the end of the box. What we've done in the past, it only started 10 or so years ago, but we've been numbering some of the models. Now, what we've done is, this year is our 32nd year, so we numbered 32 models. And next year we'll number 33, and obviously last year we numbered 31.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. It just makes that model that little bit more special.
Yeah.
So what we've done is, in the past, I have bought numbers, and sitting the Saturday before the AGM at the hotel, me and the rest of the committee and my son Elliot, we number however many models we need to by putting a number on the base and a number on the box. Well, last year when we did the DeSoto, it was an absolute nightmare. We had to remove the models from their stands, stick a number underneath, and then screw it back to the base. So what I've done, I very cheekily, and as I said, the factory know I'm terribly cheeky at this. I said to Amanda at the factory, what's the chances that you've just done a red 57 Chevy for Robert Buddick, and he had numbers underneath, one of 52, of 53, of 50. What's the chances that instead of doing it like that, you could just put a number underneath the model, so that next year you can create one more number for 33? She said, yep, no problem, we'll sort that for you. I thought, that's handy. That saved us about a morning's work. And then I spoke to Amanda as well, and I said, can we change the numbering on the box as well, so that it would say number 2 of 130, number 3 of 130. But after 32, it would just say 1 of 130 in brown. So you were one of the lucky ones. It's going to sound terrible, isn't it? But you were one of the lucky ones that I drew out of a hat, and you got one of the 32 numbered models.
I'll put a picture of that up when we're done here.
Yeah, please do. It looks. Amanda's done a cracking job of that. Well, it is. What usually happens is, if you come to the AGM, then you're pretty much guaranteed a numbered model. But not all of them are given out at the AGM. So what I do then is I bring them all home with me. I put everyone's member's name, obviously, that weren't at the AGM, into a hat, and I pick them out. So the last 6, 7, 8, 9 models will go all over the world.
Amazing. Yeah. So you made a few comments about the hobby, and we've seen these changes. We've watched Bulgari come in with Brooklin, and now SMTS, and there's new people at the factory. I think a little bit new enthusiasm. We're certainly getting more detailed models. Even the finish is, Brooklyn's finish was always good. The finish on this 210 is just incredible. So we're seeing these progress being made. We had the advent of, the resin makers come in 7, 8, 9 years ago, and that seems to have changed things a little bit as well. And where do you think the hobby's headed?
From a Brooklyn point of view, I can see this as only good, really. The new guys at the factory are very amiable. one of the comments that one of them said to me was, at SMTS, we would have killed for a club like the Brooklyn Club. Obviously, because, you know, if you think about it, you're guaranteeing a sale of virtually 100+ models every year for a one-off. You know, so, you know, even financially, and even if you was a little bit cynical, you'd say, well, the club has got to be a good thing to have. So they've come on board, the guys from SMCS, and they've been nothing but helpful. They've been brilliant, really. So I have no complaints. They've given the club a new emphasis, which is very nice. Speaking to Danielle, who's obviously very much into marketing and advertising and pushing companies, he sees the Brooklyn Club as a major part of Brooklyn Models. So
he's excited about it.
Yeah, we're getting more and more help because they've actually sat back and thought, hang on a second, this is a proper club run by proper people. This isn't a one man's business. This is 4 individuals with no hidden agenda running a proper bona fide club. So it's good. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've seen that the same, there's a new level of communication, a new level of openness. I mean, Brooklyn's always tried to be open. They've done a good job at that. But I've had the opportunity to chat with Simon and Keith a couple times. And I just love the fact that I can email them and get an answer back quickly. It's kind of like dealing with Amanda. You know, I mean, anything you need at Brooklyn, you can contact Amanda, and she'll get back to you as quickly as possible. So I can feel that new energy, and I think for me, it's exciting to know that with the resources behind Brooklyn and SMTS, that white metal is going to be a part of our hobby for quite some time. And the passion that Mr. Bulgari has, the passion that Danielle and Simon and Keith have. You know, Danielle's not a car guy, but he certainly is passionate about Brooklyn. And
I think he's getting there.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So, you know, they're guys like us. They enjoy cars. They enjoy models of cars. That Brooklyn's always had a motivation to provide detailed little cars, state of the art for whatever the state of the model art is at that time, and that dedication to do that even better. So that's exciting for me, and obviously you're excited. So how do we get to be a member of the Brooklyn Collectors Club? What do we got to do?
That is as easy as it can be, John. You need to just email the membership secretary, and that's John Bowyer, and he will sign you up.
Okay, so, I'll supply that email address. I know you guys have a Facebook page. It's very active.
That is because of the lockdown. We think the Facebook page has saved the club. Yeah. We think
without we see new people popping up on it too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'm very, for want of a better word, I'm very vicious with who I let in as well. And if you don't answer them 2 questions, you're not getting in. And I think I'm very proud to say that over the 18 months or so that the Facebook page has been going, we've had not one crossword, not one nasty comment. And I think that's great because I'm on a lot of Facebook pages, obviously the Barracuda, Mopards, Chryslers, Full Corsair, all sorts of Facebook pages I'm on. And there's a lot of backbiting and a lot of nastiness and a lot of sarcasm.
I've seen it.
I think you could stop that by only letting in true collectors, true enthusiasts. And if people don't check out the Facebook page, if they don't answer the questions, I vet them a little bit and have a quick look at their profiles and see what they're doing to make sure that, you know, they would be worth having in. But we've got over 200 members on the Facebook page, and I've probably deleted more than that.
Yeah, I think you do a good job on that. And
thank you. I like it.
Yeah, I've experienced what you talk about in some other pages where people just get mean. And you know, this should be a place for us to enjoy each other's company and enjoy the hobby together.
Absolutely. I don't understand why they can be so mean. There's just no, when you're talking about model cars, where is the meanness? That's what, you know.
Yeah.
If it was politics, I could understand people getting upset with each other. But we're talking about model cars. What is the need to get upset?
Well, Mo, I have enjoyed our time together. Thank you for taking part of your day out to spend with us. And we'll have to do this again sometime. We'll do an update in about another 6 months or so and take another look at the club and see what developments are by then.
Yeah, we'll have the new club model then ready as well, so we can sort of give you a bit of a heads up as to what's going on.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm ready for that. Well, thanks a lot, Mo. Been nice talking to you.
Been an absolute pleasure. Speak to you soon.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Mo mentioned that the club models are numbered. The first 32 or 33, depending on how many years the club's been around, have numbers on them. And indeed, I did get one. I got number 30 of 130. Just an added incentive to be part of the club. So I'm going to put all the contact information we mentioned down in the text section underneath the video here so that you can inquire about joining the club, send articles to them. They need our help and are looking for it. And I'm just excited about the new emphasis that Brooklyn is putting on the club. And, you know, this is just an example of where everything's headed. So thanks for tuning in. This was my take on the Brooklyn Collectors Club.